We're not saying a visit to Bloomington, Indiana will turn you into a forest-bathing, sandal-wearing, dissertation-defending, stray cat rescuing, nonprofit starting, Monroe Lake paddling, guitar strumming, march organizing, vinyl listening, leaf watching, zen finding, coffee roasting, yoga practicing, beer drinking, bread baking, co-op joining, pottery throwing, vintage thrifting, bike everywhereing, art appreciating, farmers market shopping, biz thinking, football fan. But we're not saying it won't. Visit Bloomington. See how it inspires you.
Don't miss Leopold Stat at Writers Theater in Glencoe. In the late Tom Stoppard's final work, we follow multiple generations of a Jewish family through 5 decades of daily life until history takes it all away. The Tribune calls the Tony Award winner essential viewing, and Stoppard worked with director Carey Perloff on revisions exclusive to this production. Leopold Stat is the largest production in Writers Theater history, so you don't want to miss it. Get your tickets today at writerstheater.org, and that's theater with an R-E. Today on CityCast Chicago, we're talking about the sprint to build a $9 billion quantum campus on the Southeast Side and the community members who feel left behind in the process. It's Friday, June 26th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Welcome back to the podcast, my friends. I appreciate y'all being here. If y'all have not listened to our other 4 episodes this week, then please tap in. I am joined today by 2 amazing guests, the co-founders of Respair Production and Media. We've got Damon Williams in the building. It's good to see you, my friend.
What's up, brother? So glad to have you, or to be had, I should say.
We've also got friend and softball teammate Daniel Kisslinger in the building. Dan, it's good to see you, my boy.
Pleasure to see you. I'm used to seeing you at third base, so I'll deal with seeing you in a little box here. But
man,
thank you for having us.
I was doing so good before the finger fracture. But
this is actually what I came here to talk about. So people need to know, one, just how much Jacoby leaves it all on the field. As we play 16-inch softball together in a media league, we're like the freelance misfits team, and he was at third base. Second or third play of the game, jammed his finger. I was like, you want to sit? Like, this can really hurt. He's like, no, I got this. Proceeded to make 3 tremendous plays, like back to back, basically, and then re-jammed the finger. And yeah. I just looked at you, and you just looked me in the eyes. You didn't even have to say it. You're like, it's broken. And I was like, yeah, it's broken.
I was like, I think it's over today. I did go back for a checkup yesterday morning, and he said everything looks good, 2 small little dots, that I should be fine over the next couple of weeks. But I asked straight up, is my softball season over? And in professional fashion, he looked dead at me and he said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Like, honestly, he was like, he was like, you know how many people I see in here about 16 in softball in Chicago, especially right now? He said, you're one of hundreds of people in here. And my advice is typically that softball is a dangerous thing. But he said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you get mobility back and you don't feel pain, then, follow your heart. And so my hope is in the next couple of weeks, that is the results. But we will see. We will see.
We need a medical podcast to join the league and serve as like the training staff.
Yeah,
everybody, I need a blue tent out there. If there's an epidemic of broken fingers, we need to be prepared for this.
I mean, that is one of the ways I've been trying to get outside over the last few weeks, even with some rain delays. Another way is I've been getting out into farmers market season. I speak highly of my farmers market, one of the farmers market I go to all the time, which is in the South Loop. And it's because I have to get the tacos every single Saturday morning. But this Saturday, I'm going to be down at 61st Street Farmers Market, which I love, right outside of Bill Coffee, doing some amazing work. And I hope people come out. And I want to know, are y'all farmers market people? Y'all grab the tote bag, head outside during the week, grab y'all some scallions?
I'm not as big as like my ideology. Like I'm a avid supporter of it, the like getting out and getting on my feet, remembering to do it on a weekend morning. It doesn't happen as often as one may wish, but I'm gonna let y'all take it because my two favorite are the one that you just said, shout out 61st, and then I'm gonna let Daniel talk about his beloved farmers market.
Yeah, you don't even know what you just walked into, Jacoby.
I need everything. I need the hall. I need everything.
My personal and professional trajectory of my time in Chicago is pretty much exclusively determined by the Logan Square Farmers Market. So my first gig, I moved to Chicago 2014, and I had no work. And so I just went booth to booth at the Logan Square Farmers Market asking if people needed help. And I ended up working for, shout out Geneva Lakes Produce. And for the next 7 summers, I went and sold veggies there. And in the process of doing that, I met probably one of my 3 best friends that I have. I met the partner and love of my life, my wife, who was running the Logan Square Farmers Market. Logan took on this reputation of like the horniest farmers market. This was like a thing for a while.
Yes.
And like before this was codified, I can attest, like, not only was it the horniest, it was the most like romantic. Like standing under this tree, 2 booths away from the woman who would go on to, become my partner in this life. I can attest that the Logan Market did that for me. So not to mention the produce array. What did we get last week? We got some good heirloom tomatoes.
He's been talking about these pears for over a decade.
Shout out Oriana's Orchard. Oriana.
Okay. But the reason I got my brothers in here today is because we need to talk a little bit more about the Illinois Quantum and Microelectronics Park. This is a forthcoming 128-acre, $9 billion development happening on the former Steelworks site on Chicago's southeast side. I'm going to let y'all tell us the story of this site and this development, but I know for a lot of people, they've seen the momentum behind this, not only the groundbreaking, but the mayor and the governor, local representatives, even the federal government has gotten in on this in a lot of ways. And this thing really feels full speed ahead and has happened very quickly. So I know there's a lot of confusion, and y'all have recently dropped quantum entanglements to help move through some of that confusion, talking to community members, explaining this out. And so let's start here. Can y'all remind us, what is Quantum Shore Campus?
From 79th, south of 87th, to where the Calumet River reaches Lake Michigan, is about a 400 square acre plot of land. It's the largest piece of empty land in the city of Chicago, larger than Lincoln Yards, larger than the 78, and it sits right along the lake. And since the U.S. Steel Southworks plant closed in its final day in 1991, this land has been sitting vacant and over time basically abandoned. There's a park in the middle of it called Steelworkers Park, but the rest of this plot of land has been sitting empty. And there have been numerous attempts to develop on this land, from different mixed income housing developments to different commercial enterprises, but none of them have moved forward. Largely, people surmise because the land itself is super contaminated with the remnants of the steel production. And that's been documented, that there's everything from heavy metals to PCBs to petroleum to all kinds of terrible stuff in the ground.
Yeah, real yucky.
Yucky to say the least. And so it had kind of just been this, not to say blank slate, but at least kind of an empty spot in our city. And no one quite knew what was going to come there. The people who lived around it for a long time have been advocating for something. Many of them were either the families, the children, the grandchildren of people who had worked in U.S. Steel Southworks or some of the other steel plants on the southeast side. And so fast forward to the summer of 2024, an enormous press conference on the site of Steelworkers Park in the middle of the plant. At this press conference was Governor Pritzker, Mayor Brandon Johnson, Tony Preckwinkle, the presidents of 3 major universities in the area, representatives of these large tech companies, really like a united front of of public and private in a way that is very rare to see for development.
And actually at that press conference, it was asked kind of who are the stakeholders, and conspicuously community groups or community organizations were left out of Pritzker's response, but the sentiment he offered was like the development of this is what this community needs and wants. So there was this, they don't need to be involved because this is so wonderful and so beneficial, and this magical tech is not just going to change the world, right? But it's going to change this community.
Yeah, when asked about a community benefits agreement, he said the community will get plenty of benefits. And
so no need for an agreement.
Exactly.
He said we agree that they are benefiting from this.
Yes, CBs over here.
So the plan was to break ground within the next 6 months on this enormous development of this quantum computing facility, which you can get more into the details of what that actually means. But the information was they were going to break ground in February 2025, and the facility was going to be fully operational in 2027. That did not happen for a variety of reasons, but groundbreaking occurred in September of last year, and construction has commenced on the actual PsiQuantum computing facility. Those buildings have started to be erected on the south end of the site along the Calumet River. So the project is, at this point, moving forward. Even though we know what this quantum computer to some degree will be, we still don't know what the rest of this enormous site will be. And there are concerns, apprehensions about both the quantum computing facility and this, if not a blank slate, at least kind of like a blank check to use the rest of this site for various research and commercial, as well as other endeavors.
Damon, I want to know, based on, this process and everything you've learned, what do you understand about exactly what they're trying to build here, from quantum computing to some of these other research facilities? What's the goal here?
Well, the irony of it is they don't know or have not determined the goal. I think the irony of this is a $9 billion investment. And I think part of why that ticket price is so large is because the tech at this point is still undetermined. So there's a speculative nature. There's a gold rush. There's this idea of this is getting on the ground floor of the internet. This is getting on the ground floor of Silicon Valley, but not
this
actually
is the next space race.
Exactly, but not actually having proof of use of these. So it's hard to, break out. But for the basics, for folks to understand, a quantum computer is not a computer in the way that we think of personal computing. It is a massive machine that needs to be kept very, very cold, at negative 450 degrees. And, from the folks that we've talked to and, from the reports that are out, it is interesting technology. Basically, it runs functions that supercomputers run linearly all at the same time. So we have our personal computer that does, our Googling and your aunts on Facebook. And then you have supercomputers that are running these models and trying to go through these questions and go through these probabilities. And they take a lot of time because they have to do this question, then the next question, and so on and so forth. And so things that are projected to take, codes that are projected to take thousands or millions of years to crack, this technology is supposed to be able to do in a few seconds. And so with that, they project that it could have impact in medicine, impact around environment and climate change. Obviously, one of our deeper concerns is the militaristic and imperial implications of a technology like this, particularly around decryption and privacy. But it's promised to do so many things. It's proven to do very little beyond decrypting private messages at this point.
The other reason that I think this is super important now, while this technology is different from, the explosion of AI that we've seen over the last, year and a half, 2 years that we've been reporting on this, this fight is so much in the context of communal response to data centers and this, what's claimed as a next industrial revolution that's descending on our spaces, descending on our cities, and really trying to resurrect and remix this rust belt of industry that has been sitting dormant since the last disinvestment, right? So in this area, they're saying we are bringing this next industrial revolution to this land. We're bringing this to your community. It's going to have all of these benefits. Similarly to how when they built these factories, those promises were made. Meanwhile, the people who live there are still dealing with the economic, social, and environmental effects of the last industrial revolution. And there really hasn't been any concerted effort to learn the lessons or do the repair from the last one before this next one descends. And that's happening all over the country, especially all around the Great Lakes and across Illinois, in ways that are like completely, I mean, I think people know this, right? Whether you're an organizer or not, there is this like anti-AI sentiment that some of it has to do with the technology, but I think really it's about people seeing like you're turning spaces that have been for humans into spaces that are no longer things that serve us on a mass scale, and taking our money and our power, and we're expected to just roll over and foot the bill. And it felt really important to tell it, one, because like the people on the other side of this, the power players, are not our usual villains, right? Like these are the people who like ostensibly are attempting to build things that will, you know, have a progressive face or serve, you know, to bring tax money into the public, or, you know, it's more complicated than just good guys versus bad guys. But the story itself, the item, the technology at the center of this is something that really, before we get caught into who's good and who's bad, people need to understand, so that then we can decide, what do we actually feel about what this could have to offer? Are the trade-offs worth it?
You know those trips where you go visit family and friends and you don't really have anything planned, but it turns out to be the best time? Because you're with the people you laugh harder with than anyone else. That's what Destination Madison is talking about this summer. Their Wish You Were Here getaway guide is inspiring people to plan the kind of feel-good getaway that, if we're being honest, we all need more of right now. So if you know someone who lives in Madison, Wisconsin, you're going to want to invite yourself over, as in, wish I were there. Meet up in Madison and visit featured places between now and October 30th for a chance to win one of 6 themed prize packages, y'all. Those include dining, hotel stays, and more. Destination Madison has made it easy by providing postcard invites, itinerary ideas, and packing lists, so you can focus on having fun together. So stop missing friends and family and start inviting. Today, go to visitmadison.com/wish.
I've watched Quantum Entanglements, and you all have talked to artists and organizers from the neighborhood. What are y'all hearing from people who live, you know, in the surrounding communities about what this process has been like, what their hopes are for the campus?
Yeah, one, to be fair, there is like a spread of positions. First of all, I think one of the like more significant parts of this story is there's like an asymmetry of information. So there, are people who are interested. There's some people who are excited. Many people have concerns, and how to respond to those concerns have taken a few paths. But then there's also just like large swaths of the city and community that also know nothing about this, right? So the part of this story is not just the scale and the implications of it, but how it came about. So, Daniel mentioned that timeline that did come to fruition, but the idea of the permits and the approvals getting pushed through at like breakneck speed, and the idea is that the whole thing was going to be built in like 12 to 15 months from it being announced. And so there was this like overwhelm of like, oh, the most powerful people are here, the largest, sticker price of investment is happening, and they're saying it's happening right now. Like, we haven't even sat down for our monthly meeting. We haven't like gone around to our spaces. There's no coalition that's ready to negotiate, or there was a being on the back foot that I think was a very significant part of this story. I think that there are major concerns. The ones that are most significant is of displacement. I think similarly to a lot of the lessons of organizing around the development of the new Obama Presidential Center and what is already occurring in Woodlawn in terms of speculative price raising, taxes going up, and then with this facility, because it not only requires so much water and or power to keep it cold, folks' utility bills have already gone up, before this space has been developed, as, ComEd is trying to, build off an energy grid or energy system that can maintain this space. So displacement is a major concern. Obviously, on a very primary level, if what is in the soil ends up in the air, in the water, in any type of significant way, not just that neighborhood, our entire city is at risk. But when this project was first announced, there was no documentation, no language, no proposal on how to remediate this site. And it felt like what was coming from those invested in it were underplaying just how toxic this land was. Since there has been, a fairly extensive remediation plan that has been released, and we are seeing, some of those efforts starting to take place. And so those are some of the major concerns. And then lastly, it is important to note that the DARPA, which is an arm of the Department of Defense, also is going to be a tenant on this space. So what does that mean locally to have, the Department of Defense on the South Side, and how will the surrounding area be policed, and how will that increase militarized presence?
And just to add one piece to that, in the week since the piece came out, there was a executive order signing in Trump's White House, in the Oval Office.
I was gonna mention this because the Hyde Park Herald did some reporting on this a couple of weeks ago.
It's basically doubling down on already existing guarantees and prioritizations of quantum technology is something that to your space race analogy, something that the U.S. needs to be trying to build before anybody else. And one of the companies that will be present at the quantum campus, Inflection, was actually in the White House at the executive order and spoke as it was signed. And so, this is an investment in a project that was there and has been fought for a very long time by the people who want to see it happen. This is not Trump's idea, but to try to understand this as separate from the ambitions of being able to both decrypt other countries' communications and then potentially be able to do that on their own people. This technology has the potential to be able to decrypt basically anything you keep private on the internet. And so I think that's an important piece of the story that people need to be understanding. This isn't just about what happens in this neighborhood. This is about this enormous investment into a technology that can, transform what it means to be able to communicate with each other.
Thinking about what comes next, you all have referenced a few Southeast Side developments. I think about the Obama Center, right? Over the last decade, there were an enormous amount of community effort about trying to secure community benefits agreements, housing protections in the surrounding neighborhoods. I think about the efforts to get General Iron from relocating on the Southeast Side, right? And the goal there was to prevent them from opening up, not simply remediation or CBA. The quantum campus, given that it has the support of politicians at all levels, has already broken ground, is moving forward. What is the current effort of community members?
There are really three tracks that we're seeing, but there is a fairly predominant coalition that you're seeing right now that is demanding the halt of this development, to revoke the permits and to stop this. That there is a demand that we don't want this here, and we are going to fight tooth and nail until the very end, to stop it. And so, that is definitely one track. There is a coalition that is also working to negotiate with the developers something in the vein of a community benefits agreement, even if it's not called that. Some of the protections I named around further remediation around the shoreline, investment into the local schools, and the creation of a credit union. And also, from our understanding, to be fair, there is a smaller contingency that seems to be in concert or in support of this forthcoming development. So all of those tracks exist, but I think I see many more boots on the ground for those first two approaches than the third.
I think we use this particular story that we followed as it's been unfolding over the last year and a half to better communicate a question that I think many of us are struggling with in this time, which is who do we turn to get the things we need to live? Affordability is the keyword of the day because no one can afford anything they need. When a technology comes along and the promises around it are this will meet all of your needs, this will make all these new things possible, there's this really important question of, we don't think the problem is that we don't have the technology to meet people's needs. We talked to Dixon in the piece, and he's talking about Dixon from Southside Together. He's talking about I don't think the reason that like the hospital can't meet the healthcare needs in this community is because it doesn't have a quantum computer. I don't think the reason that like people don't have affordable housing is because we don't have a quantum computer. Like we can name the structural reasons that those things don't happen. It's not because this technology doesn't yet exist. And so even if everything goes quote unquote right and the harm is mitigated as best it can during construction and, you know, this is fully functional and operational, like it doesn't actually answer this question of like, who should we be turning to and demanding the resources and the support and the infrastructure to get the things we need to live. And if we're not centering that question in the things we build, then it won't meet those needs. And like, if that's not what we're trying to solve, if what we're trying to solve is how to make things better, faster, more efficient, processing data more quickly, you know, rescuing corporate profits in a time of destability in the market. Like if the center question is not how do we help people have the things they need to live, then the things we make won't contribute to that. And that's true for the quantum campus. That's true for so many things right now in terms of where the wealth and the attention and the resources are going in our country and in our city.
Quantum Entanglements is a multimedia investigative feature available now. You can listen to it. You can watch it. I'm going to drop links in the show notes. There's also a release party going down next Wednesday from 6 to 9, July 1st at the Quarry. Again, I've got links in the show notes. And I want to hear from y'all, 773-780-0246. What are your thoughts on this forthcoming development? Every episode of CityCast Chicago ends the exact same way, and that is with me asking you to bring your ass back here for the next episode, and then the next one, and then to put us on with your family and your friends and go to our events calendar, come pull up on us when we outside. But it also ends with some good news. And so I want to hear from y'all. What is some good news happening in your world right now?
Yeah, I'll kick off. One, I just want to shout out the W Club, my Saturday basketball runs. That's like real generative good news. Shout out to Elton and Nemo and all the artists and folks that put that together.
You be dropping crazy 4K clips of them sessions, dog. I can't hold you. I'm not gonna lie. I love the clips, man.
The production value.
Right? I feel like I seen some black and whites in there. Like you just dropped like an overhead shot the other day. You like pulling up at the throw. I was like, I see you, bro.
Ahmad Rashad should be narrating these videos.
So shout out all the folks over there. But on the Respire side, we're really excited. We're going to be awarded later this summer the Public Humanities Award by Illinois Humanities, and that's an organization that's been doing really great work for decades, and we've been connected to for a while. So it's an honor to be honored in that way, particularly around humanities and like humanizing dialogue, which is what all of our stuff is built on.
You should definitely check out what they do at IllinoisHumanities.org. They do really beautiful work across the state. And then the other piece of good news, which may not sound like good news at first, again, like we're always looking for the silver linings, looking for what are the things that can build out of these environmental and social changes. It's going to be hot as hell next week, and I've been like waiting for hot days to get in the lake. I got in the lake once. So far, it was frigid, as it should be this time of year, or in like early June. But I feel like we're right at the intersection of like hot days next week, water being the perfect amount of cold. I've been like waiting for this, finding the silver lining, cooling off, head under the water. Let's go. I got a new floaty yesterday. That's really the good news, is I got a new floaty.
I love that for you. Yeah, we will definitely have some heat advisories for y'all next week. I think it's supposed to finally get into 90-degree territory. It's supposed to feel like 105 one of them days next week. So yes,
I advise you to get in the lake.
Yes, find you some water if possible, even if it's a personal ice bucket challenge at the crib for yourself. For my good news today, I'm going to keep us on the southeast side. Man, shout out to the Shade Aquarium, who are doing these beach cleanups and these community cleanups throughout the summer. Places like Skokie Lagoons, Ping Tom Memorial Park, 63rd Street Beach, and also Calumet Park Beach this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I will drop a link in the show note for you to sign up. Y'all know I'm a fan of the Shade's conservation efforts. Speaking of getting into the water, I got to book me a conservation kayaking tour. There are ones for beginners where you're not out there too long, and then intermediary where you're out there for a couple of hours, taking in the river, taking in some of the wildlife that is out there. I'm always trying to spot Chonkosaurus. Catch me a picture of a gray heron out there. For people who are longtime listeners, y'all know how much I love kayaking on the river. And so you can also take part in the Shed Aquarium's action days. There are plenty taking place throughout the rest of the summer. So again, I'll drop some links in the show notes for you. Fellas, I appreciate y'all being here with us, talking quantum computing, but also farmers markets, awards, and getting out into the lake. It's always a good time to have y'all on. The co-founders of Respare Production and Media. We've got Daniel Kisslinger in the building. It was a good time, my boy.
Pleasure to see you. Thank you for doing this, and I look forward to seeing you back out there on the diamond soon.
Hey, very soon, any and every time. And Damon Williams in the building. I appreciate you making time for us.
Oh man, you are one of my favorite people, and truly, honestly, CityCast, the work that y'all have been doing, you know, the dedication y'all have to covering this city and keeping people informed is unmatched. There's nothing else like CityCast in the city, so it means a lot to be on with you.
Hey, a professional gasser. I appreciate it.
It's what I do. It's what I do. It's always sincere.
For everybody else listening, please tap into everything we have to offer by bookmarking chicago.citycast.fm. You can follow everything going on over at resparemedia.com. I want to thank everybody who makes CityCast Chicago possible. Our executive producer, Simone Alisea, our creative producers, Michelle Navarro and Emmy Mack, our audience development manager, Chima Okoro, post-production by PJ Shahamed. Our music is from the one and only Sam Thousand, all the kimonos, and Mark Greenberg from the Mayfair Workshop. One thing about us is we keep on coming back. We're going to be here bright and early on Monday. I will talk to you then. Peace.